Almost had it. Almost.
Close.
I'm still. I can't. I can't get over this Instagram thing. How it's been such a pain to go live on this thing. It worked great the first couple of times we tried it. Now it's just not doing it. So I'm just gonna give up. Bye Instagram. Okay, hey guys, welcome back to South Texas Football Unlimited, presented by Dawson's Recycling, the Coastal Bend's first original. Uh, what else do you want to say we are?
Uh, Pioneers. I don't know.
Pine Trailblazers, right? I don't know. We've been around for a long time.
I do
Uh,
think it's kind of crazy that I was thinking about the other day, right? Like everyone in the world has like a podcast. It seems like now, uh, and I'm not saying we're the first people to do podcasts because that's false. But when we hit that idea of the podcast, or you came to it with me, I was clueless to what it was, and this was what back in 18. We
it would have
started
probably
it,
been 7. Oh, it was
and
18, right? Yeah,
it was kind of like the podcast scene had died, and then
yeah.
COVID struck up, and then it was like the podcast world lit back on fire, and now it's like you see a lot of good podcasts out there these days, and it's just kind of crazy because I feel like we got ahead of that curve before we even knew what was going to happen with it.
Before we
And
knew what we were doing.
yeah, 100%. I still laugh to this day about like if you really think about the very beginnings of the show, like
Dude,
it's pretty wild.
it's pretty wild. Uh, dude, that's something I've been noticing lately that I kind of want to talk about. So podcasts, right? I listen to a lot of podcasts. Like I freak Justin out with like how many podcasts I listen to. He wonders how much time in the day I have to listen to podcasts. I listen to
I
everywhere.
don't get it. I don't get it.
I listen to a lot, and I listen to them all the time. While I'm doing stuff in the kitchen, I put a podcast on. While I'm in the shower, I put a podcast on. While I'm driving to work, put a podcast on. When I'm cutting the yard, when I'm doing yard work, I put a podcast in. When I go skateboarding, I'm listening to podcasts. Right, so I'm always
Really?
listening to podcasts. And what's happening lately is some of these shows are starting to put up a paywall. Or and you've seen the other stuff, like they've got the what are they called, the Patreons and stuff like that. Hey, give me a buck here, give me $5 here, hey, donate here, right? Those kinds of things. That's okay, right? But now they're essentially becoming subscription based now, and I'm like, dude, for
Wow.
real? Like some of the ones that I listen to, they're gonna start charging for their like content library. Like you can listen to the new ones, but if you want to go back and listen to old ones, you got to subscribe and pay for it.
Wow. No shit. I
Yeah,
can tell
dude.
you one thing. They're losing a big customer,
Oh,
a big viewer.
100%, dude. 100%. Now I got to go find
Yeah.
some other free ones. Right.
It's
Uh,
wild, dude. I didn't
dude, it
realize
is.
that. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
seriously. I legit think you have like a 30-hour day because the amount of podcasts you talk about, I try, right? I try to get in and listen to podcasts and I do enjoy them, but like I'm really a music person when I drive. Like it's a real big thing for me to overcome. And then for whatever reason, when I'm doing stuff in the house, I listen to music a lot more than I do podcasts. But every now and then I get on a kick and I kind of get into them. I kind of like the crime ones. Some of the ex-military ones were good. I really liked Andy
yeah,
Frisella's podcast. What's the genre you normally hit?
dude, everything. Right. So I found some. So lately, right, I find a new one. Right. So I've got some bourbon ones. I've got some skateboarding ones. I've got some, dude. A lot of times I like to be entertained. Right. So I subscribe to a lot of the Ringer podcasts. Like, so I listen to Bill Simmons's. I listen to his rewatchables where they talk about different movies and shit like that.
I do enjoy those.
I listen to Bussin' with the Boys. Um, I listen to what else? What else is hot on my rotation list right now? Um, I listen to Steve Zabin, who's a Monday through Thursday guy. I used to listen to him way back in the day when I lived in North Carolina, when he was on ESPN radio. And then I just got bored one day and wanted to see if he had a podcast. And sure enough, he does. It's a Monday through Thursday. So I listen to him. He's a good 30, 45-minute listen on the way to work every day. And then I listen to like American crimes and stuff like that, and business wars and things like that, just random pop culture history stuff. And then I listen to like the Daily from the New York Times and some other things like that, just to kind of keep up on current events. And I do listen to a lot of military ones. The ones I really like are I listen to the Black Rifle podcast too. But the one I like is the one from the Modern War Institute out of West Point, and they talk to of a bunch of veterans and stuff. They talk about GWAT stuff, and then they'll bring some Vietnam era guys, and just talk about their experiences and what got them to the military and things like that, and what they learned and their leadership, things like that. So it's actually pretty cool. And I listened to this other one. I know one more, last one, right? I know Matt's on there. Matt Stepp, welcome, Matt Stepp. He's always traveling internationally. I imagine there's a lot of podcasts on the playlist there.
Oh, absolutely.
And the last one I listened to is the man, what's it called? I can't even because they haven't put one out in forever. It'll come back to me later. Anyways, um, interesting news that have popped up in this really short week. Matt actually wrote a story on one of them. We'll talk to him in a little bit, or we'll bring it up in a little while. But one of the biggest ones, an eyebrow raiser to me, was that Bally's Sports is now FanDuel Sports,
Yeah, that's
right?
crazy.
That's pretty cool. That's different, right? But the question that popped in my head right away is, FanDuel is a bookie site essentially, right? It's a sports betting site. Does that create any kind of like, oh wow, with the UIL and things with their TV deal, things like that? That's my question. I know Bally's, if you go back, right, Bally's there's a casino, right? It is a casino and things like that. I don't know how the TV branch kind of meshes with that, if that was a thing. Maybe it's not. Maybe it is. Who knows? Right. So that just made me raise my eyebrows a little bit. Like essentially that's where we're going now with sports, right? Is
So do you think here's the question too is like I know I have this issue every year during the state championship games. I have to almost bootleg uh,
it's hard
the
to get it. Yeah.
channel because I have YouTube TV live and they don't carry Bally, so I always end up getting a buddy, excuse me, who has Direct TV live, the streaming service, and I can watch the games that way. But I'm just curious to know, FanDuel, will that be one of those things that it'll be available on other platforms versus just being on the Direct TV and Fubu?
Yeah. And so one of the
I'm
things that I
hoping.
brought up was is it, if this is kind of a thing that's not going to be a good marriage between the UIL and just this entity, um, does Texan Live step in and DCTF and stream the games, the state championship games, right? Is that an opportunity to do something like that? Um, I don't know. We'll see, right? We'll see how this thing unfolds. Um, I saw somebody
I
post
think.
something that the contract with Jerry World and the UIL and Bally's is all kind of meshed together. So maybe that throws a wrench in things. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe it restructures
Well, I
everything.
mean, Texan Live does a good job on playoff games. I don't mind watching that, but honestly, the production that Bally's puts out
Oh yeah.
uh,
Well, they're a
for the
network,
state games.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, no, exactly. And then was it Fox Southwest back in the day? They did a really good job with it. So yeah, I don't know, man. That's interesting. Matt might have a little more tie to that because he's part of it, you know.
Yeah.
But
Kind of sort of in a
yeah,
roundabout
yeah,
way.
it is interesting. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And then speaking of Bally's, did you see that Bailey Zappi signed with the Cleveland Browns today
Yes, I did.
after
Yep.
Deshaun Watson's Achilles rupture, tear, whatever you want to call it, Achilles injury? Yeah, so I thought that was pretty interesting. So the Crossroads standout from Victoria is getting another shot in the NFL. So
Well,
that's
he has
pretty
a
cool.
chance to be a immediate backup to Jameis because I believe Dorian
He got hurt,
Thompson
right?
Robinson hurt his hand, which put Jameis in, which to me was mind blowing because I always felt like Jameis.
No comment. I knew that was coming.
I felt like Jameis was possibly the best quarterback on that roster because I feel like Deshaun kind of threw the towel in a long time ago with just like overall performance. And then you say what you want about Jameis Winston. I was a big time hater of him during his college run, but dude, like he says some crazy things, but like that is a very. I've watched a lot of stuff on him. Like that is a super passionate dude. Pretty humble beginnings, and like you talk about like just a workhorse and like a good teammate overall. Like I am low key rooting for him to kind of take the reins on this quarterback thing and just run with it because he looked good when he came in. And I know we don't talk NFL, but that's just I was looking at it for fantasy purposes. I was looking at it for different things, and I was like, okay, good. And that was what shocked me too was DTR came in, and then he got hurt, and I was like, okay, now they went to Jameis, and so yeah, I think Bailey's got a chance to be an immediate backup up there in Cleveland. Which and before we move on, like I read a lot of stuff about Bailey in this offseason. The big push there was, they brought in Drake May, they brought in Joe Milton, and they had Jacoby Brissett on the roster. So it was like evident he was going to go. And a lot of NFL analysts said that he was going to be a bargain on a trade deal for any team that wanted him because proven experience. It's good. It's good experience. It's not like Malik Willis, where he kind of had a really rough start. Like Bailey Zappi did a pretty decent job in the NFL. Like obviously not enough that they wanted to run with it for a long time, but at the same time, like Patriots were kind of a cluster. Yeah,
So yeah, that's pretty
it's
cool.
not every day, right?
Yeah,
Just running
definitely
it.
not every day. And I guess the biggest news that has come out this week is Palestine Westwood essentially is Michigan University
High school.
South or University of Michigan South, right? So if you guys aren't familiar with what's going on Palestine Westwood, their head coach Richard Bishop and actually a district employee were suspended for the remainder of the 24 football season for essentially running a Connor Stallions type operation there. I guess they were deciphering signs. I don't know how they were getting it, if they were recording games while they were scouting, while I don't know exactly how they found out. But it came up and it went up to the district executive committee. And the DEC ruled that they will forfeit all their games played, which were 7 games so far, 2 district games. And here's the weird part, the kicker part. And the 3 remaining games. So they're going to forfeit 3 games they haven't even played yet.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
all bagged up.
that's a little interesting, right? That's I get the 7, but the 3 that not played, that's something. So right now, they're currently number 6 in 3A D1.
That's tough.
Dude, that's wild, right? So here's an interesting part. So Richard Bishop, Coach Bishop,
One more
got
out of
there
the
in
way for the
2000.
Cardinals.
Yeah, got there in 2018. And every year they've gotten better. So 2018 they were 1-9. 2019 they were 2-8. 2020 they were 3-7. 21 they were 4-6. 22, what do you think they were in 22?
I'm gonna go with 7-5.
5-6. So they've gained a win every year. And then last year they jumped to 9-3 and got their second playoff win in school history. Right. So they
Okay.
played 12 games. They won 1 playoff game, lost in the second round. And this year they're currently 7-0. They are appealing to the UIL, and their hearings is this Thursday at 11:15. And the UIL will kind of decide if the DEC's ruling is upheld or if they're going to kind of come out with a different ruling.
Wow, that's crazy. I think it's wild. If that's been going on for a while, I told a lot of people to watch the Michigan Connor Stallions documentary. I thought that was mind blowing. And then if you really look at like what Michigan was with Hardball before the Connor Stallions effect, it's kind of follows the
Very
same pattern
similar,
here
right?
with
Very similar.
very similar. And so I think that's crazy. I feel bad for the seniors on that team, right? Who may might. I mean, I really don't feel like kids would be involved in that anyway, or even know that's going on. So that's a very sucky situation, I think, for those dudes. I think it's also a loss for the teams that had them remaining on the schedule because you got seniors on there that just took another game away from possibly their playing football. So I think that's kind of an issue to look at as well. But I'm gonna bring it up, but maybe I shouldn't on the show. And I ain't a snitch, but I've been to a game, maybe this year or last, where I sat by some scouts that were pretty friendly and pulled out a phone and recorded a play or two. And to me, I was just curious if that was breaking a UIL rule. I don't really care. I ain't mentioning what teams it was, who it was, but it raised the flag because I'm like, man, you're doing that out in the open. If someone wants to narc, or if it is a possibility, like, what does that go? Get it? Like, they get the film from Huddle. That's how they exchange nowadays. But it was just interesting to me because I had never seen another team do that before, and it
But
wasn't like they recorded every single thing.
I don't
But
think they
it
get
was.
every view from Huddle, do they?
I don't think so. I think they get
Because
the goal
because
post. And I believe they get the 50 spread.
Because if you remember with Cybert, when he would always post Ace's highlights,
Mm-hmm.
his brother would tell him, "Don't post this view." right?
Yeah.
And so, do they? I don't know. I don't know. Do coaches? If there's coaches watching right now, do y'all get when you exchange film? Do you get every view? Do you get the sideline view? Do you get the goalpost view? And you get the widespread. I mean, just anonymous participants or anonymous comments if you want to kind of keep that to yourself
I
in
mean,
your interview.
and give thoughts and opinions on what I mean. I wouldn't lie to you about that.
You
And
know, I kind of
I could have
wonder.
been, I could have taken it a really bad way because uh, could be near and dear to my own team. But I just was like, oh, that's different. Never seen that before. But I'm just curious. Like, is that possibly a
Well, there's a
violation?
coach out there, Coach Salinas out of Poth. Yeah, tight and wide. That's what they get. So no end zone views, right? So
Yeah,
and I've always wondered with the stuff that we put out, and granted it's a clip, right? Because there's times when I'm in the end zone and I get some clips. I ask myself, I mean, is this? I'm not scouting for any team, but am I giving anything from either team away to future opponents and things like that? Right. So I do wonder that. So I have a conscience, guys. Believe it or not.
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
It
so
is
that'll be
definitely.
interesting to see how that ruling comes out. And there's people on both sides of the fence on this, right? Like you see Roger Flores here saying, if you're not cheating, you're not trying, right? You hear that all the time, right? But you've got people on both. Some people are saying the UIL over or the DEC is overreaching. You got some folks saying you're ruining the integrity of the game, and they should get the book thrown at them, right? So you've got both sides of the spectrum on this, right?
It just sucks because at the end of the day, the ones that really lose out are the kids, right?
Are
The
the
kids are
kids?
what
Are
lose.
the kids? Yes.
Kids lose out.
Yeah.
Program
Yeah.
history season comes to a screeching halt because of said violations, right? Sucks.
Yep.
It's
So that's
tough.
going to be interesting to see how it rolls out. So once those results come out, we'll go ahead and retweet that because it is public information. It will come out from the UIL, and we'll see we'll see how that pans out. Um, some big games on the docket this week, not just around here. Okay. Yeah. Thanks, Coach. You're not giving anything away. You're doing a highlight just like all news stations do. Okay. Thanks, Coach. I feel better. I can sleep better tonight. So some big games on the docket this week around the state, right? Not just here. Actually, in the Coastal Bend, it's very light as far as
Yeah.
big games go. So, but across the state, there's some big ones. Your boys, Columbus, are taking on Hitchcock this week in Hitchcock.
Yes,
Battle
sir.
is Hitchcock still in the top 10?
I believe so.
I should have looked that up ahead. I'll pull it up right
It doesn't
now.
make the show. It makes the show less authentic.
If we're fact checking, right? Remember that where we pride ourselves on just spitting stuff out. Nah, they are not in the top 10. Oh yeah, they are. I'm sorry, they're number 5. Yep. So you got a top 10 battle this week, and they're not very far apart. These schools, right?
I
So
may or
that's
may
pretty
not just
cool to
keep on
see.
driving on Friday and just head on up.
Then you've got the Battle of the Lakes, Westlake at Lake Travis. Lake
Yep.
Travis is 7-0, Westlake 6-1. You've got Goliad and Edna right up here up the road in Edna this week. Here's a big one, and this is one that really piqued my interest as I started seeing it. The chatter pop up on Twitter is Nederland and PNG, the Mid County
Yes.
Madness game. This game sold out yesterday.
Yeah.
Both sides, right? And PNG, if you guys saw or are familiar with PNG, they travel very well, so this is a home game for them. So that side's going to be full. Nederland 6-1 this year. PNG 7-0, defending state champs. That's going to be a good one. I actually looked in before I didn't even bring it up to you. I looked to see how far PNG was from us and if we'd be able to swing this. It's too far, I think, to
It's
come
yeah.
back. To get there,
It's a
we'd have
journey.
to stay the night. That's an overnight. But
Yeah.
that I definitely want to go see a PNG home game before we end this show, just to see what that vibe is like.
It's I don't want to get on it, but I'll tell you one thing: they do bring an awesome crowd. I've seen them twice live. Played against them
Uh,
once, and then watched them once live. They weren't at home on the second time I watched them, but that crowd's real. They traveled like however long it was to San Antonio, and they stacked the entire lower half of the Alamo Dome. If that gives you any indication on what kind of fan base they bring, and then they got some cool traditions, dude, with the Indian and whatnot. So
Native
yeah,
American.
I
We'll get a
actually
sampler.
really like PNG. They're living in the DFW people's head, dude, and I read the chatter all the time on that DFW page, and there's a lot of people very upset about that school. So I hope they do the same thing. hope they make another run. I hope they do it again, dude, because they always have good athletes. And was it Roshan Johnson was like probably the most notable one as of late, former
Yeah,
Texas running quarterback. He was a quarterback there, so he's in the NFL now.
quarterback
So
switched to
yeah,
running back. Yeah.
dude.
And then we got another big one in our area, El Campo at Bay City, which is another game we tinkered around playing with, but it's like, do we want to go to that one in Bay City? Another battle of top 10 teams. I think El Campo is they're top 5 and Bay City's number 10.
I ain't gonna
Um,
lie, dude. I was very tempted to go to that one over the other one.
so Bay City's
Very.
number 10, El Campo's number 5. And it's not that much further up the road, right? So we still could be a game time decision. We could leave Friday with the intention of going somewhere and then just keep heading north. Uh, we'll see, man. We'll see. But week 8, right now, let's jump into last week's goings on, right? So you were at this first game, GP at Moody. GP came on top 56-12. We both had GP in this one. Tell me about it.
I really went to this game just based off the fact that kind of worked better for my schedule for that weekend, and then I was kind of genuinely curious about how they would defend against the wing T that Moody was running, and then that was a game where when we talked and saw Moody earlier in the season, we thought, hey, Moody still could push for playoffs, so. I wasn't blown away by the performance against Ray. So, yeah, it kind of piqued my interest, and it was a home one for us and gave Ace an opportunity to hang out with his buddies and do what they do on Fridays at the game. So we stuck in there. Portland's defense is really good against the run. I think they gave up one big run for a touchdown in the first half. But other than that, kind of had their way with Moody in the air, ran the ball and pretty good. Honestly, they seem to be piecing together and getting better each week. So pretty much did what they needed to do, I think, as expected. You could tell like the confidence is building with the boys, so that's something they're going to need because, as you know, they have Carroll and Miller coming up, and to me that's 1, 2, and 3 game right there. So uh, Portland looked good. They did their job, and then tip to cat the Moody dude. They didn't stop, man. They were taking a whaling, and they fought the entire game. It just really could never get that ground game going. Portland stifled it pretty early on, and kind of once you're behind a team that can throw like Portland, it makes it tough when you're running out of that wing tee. So that was pretty much the gist of that game.
The and this is one thing I wanted to talk about before, and I forgot. Um, the power rankings are out this week for the Coastal Band from the Caller Times, and GP cracked it this week.
Really?
Yeah, I think they came in at I'm pulling it up right now.
10 or
Yeah,
what is it? 1 to 10 or?
for big schools, it's 1 through 10, and they're checking in at number 7.
Nice.
Yeah. So at 3 and 4, up ahead, up over teams with winning records: Rockport, Fulton, Tulsa, Midway, Alice, and right behind Cal Allen. So it'll be interesting. Okay, they're playing number 5 this week, Carroll, in the Battle of the Bridge, which we'll talk about in the next segment. Corpus Christi Carroll at Corpus Christi Miller. You had this one as a kind of a blowout, right? And which it was. One of the local sports media friends of ours said it looks as if though Miller is just taking out their anger on everyone. And it's essentially how it turned out. I was hoping it would be a close game. I was hoping Carroll would kind of try to hang in there, just to make it interesting. And they did not. Nick Ganthu did not play
Really?
in the game. Did not suit up. Came out in street clothes. I guess he got banged up last week. I think they're saying he shouldn't have been playing last week, but played anyways, and ended up had to sit out this week. And then Robert Muhammad, I think, was maybe played 3 series and left with a potential what looked like a head injury is what they're thinking. So he didn't play most of the game as well. So you lost your 1-2 punch right there. Yeah. And a lot of folks were saying when I commented that, I shared it, that Nick wasn't playing, and the comment was unless he plays defense, he wasn't going to help. Well, he could have kept the offense on the field a little longer and gave that defense a little bit of rest. Maybe the score wouldn't have been as lopsided, but anything could happen, right? So
what was the final on that one?
59-7, Miller.
If Coach Evans is in here, I try to tell him every week, don't do it. And hey, it might be a close game. Don't do it. I tried. Learn my lesson, dude. Flower Bluff. I learned my lesson.
Yeah, and then game I was at, Cal Allen Tolosa Midway for the Battle of the Little Brown Jug. 41 years it stays in Cal Allen's hands. 35-14, Cal Allen. It was close for a little
Exactly
bit,
how we called it.
but it is. It was exactly. It went down exactly how we said it was going to go down. Um, Cal Allen kind of imposed their will on the offensive front and the defensive front. Really, that front lines on both sides of the ball for Cal Allen played outstanding. Um, and Cal Allen was kind of able to do what they wanted to do, and Toloso Midway tried, but right, it was Figueroa right, Figueroa left, just how we said it was going to be. They really need to develop some playmakers outside of the running back.
Yeah.
Um, they threw they threw a touchdown pass to Figueroa. They completed a deep ball in the first quarter, which set up the tying score to make it 7-7 in the first quarter. But after that, it was tough. It was tough for them to get anything going. The interesting take out of this was all the trash talking in this game. Uh, and it's not just here. It's not just this game. It's social media today, right? And we've heard about this going on for years, whether they're talking trash on Snapchat or they're talking trash on Instagram or Facebook. It happens. And
Yeah.
Justin and I were talking the other day. It's like, if these tools were around when we played football, it would probably be the same thing. We would probably be
Oh, yeah.
doing the same thing as talking shit to each other. As kids, that's
Yeah.
okay. But when adults come in and whatnot, and vice versa, right? I mean, it's respect is a two-way street, right? You got to give respect to get respect, and vice versa. Um, you got to be careful as an adult when you're jumping into those things. They're kids. They don't think things through all the way. Um, they've got the luxury in that sense of saying that they're kids.
Yeah.
But parents on both sides kind of need to take a step back and kind of chill. But that's my
Which
take.
is it's just funny because and I know it's not just Cal Allen, right? But we
It's
talk about
not. It is not.
every
Yeah,
year they
every
get
year because
blasted for something. You know what I mean? Like they every year it seems like they get blasted for something, and the spotlight's
yeah,
on it in a negative way. And it's not just them because we've seen it. We've had different things sent to the pages before, and I ain't gonna lie, man. Some of it I've chuckled at before, and it's some of it's kind of funny, but it's kind of sad whenever the parents get involved like that, and it's just weird, man. It's a different time you live in. In these
yeah,
honestly, like when I was in high school, and I'm sure the same way with you. Like you may knew like one or two kids possibly from surrounding schools, but for the most part,
yeah,
you really didn't know many of them or even mess with them or anything like that. So now it's
yeah,
like they know each other.
yeah.
They're
These guys are
familiar,
playing. They're playing different sports. They come
and
up
it's
playing
even
sports together, and
closer. Their backyards to each other. So yeah, it's kind of it just makes for an interesting flair, and we've seen it across. I think the state and the nation where we've seen different things like instances
yeah,
like this. And hell, the TikTok trend this year became a issue on a Texas high school football field, right? Like who'd have thought that was going to be a problem, you
yeah.
know?
The spanking with the belts after the game, right? That 7-0 game. I think it was Wallace Brazos, right? Was that who it was? I don't remember, but
Yeah,
yeah, that
Wallace.
so that one.
They were spanking Willis. They were
Yeah,
spanking the team with a belt.
yeah.
So yeah,
That
it's
that's depending which way you take it. That's assault, right? I mean, they're lucky that a fight didn't break out from that other team.
yeah,
I mean, they already lost 7-0. They're at that point again, kids, right? Not thinking things through. They're like, oh, what else do I got to lose, right? Not
yeah,
thinking of the repercussions that could happen after assault charges and things like that if a fight were to break out, right? So,
for
kids,
sure.
guys, players, take a step back. Think about some of this stuff. All right, you guys are still young. Roger, he had 60. Depending where you go, he had either 60 to 65 yards running that game. So they really shut Figueroa down that game. So the Cal defense did their job, and they're playing very well right now. They could use some tweaks in the passing game right now, just as always. But they're running the ball like a Cal offense runs the ball. And then we had Cuero at sitting. We both had sitting winning, but we were way off on how this thing was going to end.
Yeah,
We kind of figured Sitton was going to run away with this thing. They ended up winning 23-18. And they were behind the whole first half, and midway through the third quarter it was 12-3 for the longest time. um, and it looked like with the way it was going there was a lot of mistakes. I think Sitton shot themselves in the foot a lot of times. Derek did not play. There was a story in Channel 6 that he's going to be on the shelf for the next couple of weeks. to allow him to recover. I think he got banged up at the end of the Cal Allen game, right? Is that right?
That was it.
Yeah, and then so he kind of played the last game or he had the bye week right after that. No, actually, Cal Allen was it Cal Allen then the bye week?
He had a bye week, and they went
Yeah.
and they
So
started
he had a
off.
bye week and then sat the week, right? So he has had a couple of weeks of rest. Coach Troutman's expecting him to come back this season before the playoffs. They're just not going to rush him back, which is probably a good idea.
Yeah, no, you want him fresh as can be for the playoffs. And honestly, Micah Green's done a good job. So I think they will probably rely on Tristan and Micah. And then, I'd like to see him open up the pass game a little more with Jacoby.
Yeah.
This is a good opportunity to do it with the way the schedule looks for them right now. So that's an interesting little hitch into their season. But yeah, no, I think getting Derek healthy to help with that playoff push is probably top priority for Coach Troutman. And then I was told by some people that talked to the Cuero coaching staff, and they have friends on it, and they said that they were obviously wanted to win, but they were happy with the result because they didn't have a kicker going into that game. And so they ended up going for two, I think, a couple times, and then went for it when they could have got a field goal, and it was ended up being like a 5-point game, right? So opportunities were there for them. I think they felt like they didn't capitalize when they could have on some stuff, and then they're still breaking in that JV quarterback. I think if you're Cuero fan base and coaching staff, you have to be happy with the fact that you hung with the number 4 team in state right now, right? And you're kind of gearing up for your playoff run as well. Yeah. So I think good things for Cuero, and then obviously kind of let them get an idea of like, okay, this is the level we need to play at if we're going to make a push this year as well. So I think they were happy with their result as well. And then I was told too that I think Sinton made some drives in the first half that ended in fumbles, right? That kind of killed themselves.
The turnovers.
But we're talking about Sinton being just a really good second half team in general. Really have been.
Yeah, they have
been a really good second half team, and it showed because at one point I was looking at 12-3 or something like that.
Yeah, it was 12-3 for the longest time. Yeah,
and then they come storming back. So yeah, I think Sinton's priming up and. Kind of wasn't what we thought, but it could have been in the same sense that first half went a little better for him.
Yeah. So Greg Tepper on the 19th. What was the 19th? That was Saturday morning, right? He put a tweet out, and I shared it on our socials. Mentioned this last night on Scoreboard. Pound for pound, there's a real argument that Sinton has the strongest resume in all of Texas high school football. Wins at Beeville Jones, Port Lavaca, Calhoun, Alice, Gregory Portland, Miller, Cal Allen, and Cuero. I don't disagree with that.
No, the only other team I would say matches that resume would be Atascocita this year.
Who's got a big game this week against Galena Park North Shore this week, which is another big game this week.
Yep. So I think those two probably pound for pound have the toughest schedule. Obviously, Atascocita probably for their classification of ball, and then Sinton probably for anything lower than 5A level is obviously put together one of the best resumes in high school football this year so far.
Yeah. I'm guessing this is Albert. Yeah, he's happy with the outcome. Cuero did very well with all the talk that Sinton would have ran all over us. It's true, right? I mean, Mike Foreman was on here, said the same thing. Thought Sinton was just kind of run away with this thing. I think the state kind of thought that. I didn't look at the point spread on what Sinton was favored by. I don't remember it, and I think it's probably gone by now to go back and look at it. But I mean, Albert was kind of in the same boat with us that they're kind of weak on the defensive side of the ball. Their secondary was kind of weak, so they were kind of worried about how that defense was going to stack up, and they played very well. Held Sinton to 23 points.
Yep.
You got anything else for week 9? Our little darlings down in Brownsville had the bye week this week, so no updates on Brownsville St. Joe this week.
No, I don't think so. That took together that week pretty good, I think.
Okay. Well, then, if we've got nothing else to go over week 8, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with week 9.
Hi, I'm Brian Williford, president and owner of Al Williford Chevrolet in Portland, where we've been family-owned since 1984. One word that we love around here is community. We have a heart for the coastal bend, which is why we value people first. Whether you're in the market for a new Chevrolet or a quality pre-owned vehicle, our friendly sales professionals are eager to help. We also have an amazing full-line service department featuring genuine GM parts and accessories to keep your vehicle running and looking its best. Plus, for life's accidents, we have a fantastic collision center where we repair all makes and models and work with most insurance carriers. Remember, when you buy from us, we're not looking for a one-time sale. We look forward to building a relationship together for years to come. Thank you, and we invite you to join the Al Williford Chevrolet family.
Guys, again, as always, if you're in the market for a new or used vehicle, need any body work done, go see our friends Brian and Zach over at Al Williford Chevrolet off beautiful Highway 181 in repaved beautiful Highway 181 in Portland, Texas.
Dude.
I'm guessing it's nice. It's very nice now that it's paved. I'm guessing it's not very good getting out of your neighborhood from there right now.
But it actually is a lot better. After last week, it's gotten a lot better for me, thank God. So they got a little bit more left to do, I think, but it's wrapping up. So that's been a while that we've been dealing with that. So I'm hoping that comes ahead pretty quick.
Hey, did you do something different with your phone right now during the break? Are you still on your phone or on your computer now? I'm just because it looks good. That's why I'm asking. It's like night and day. We can't.
I'm still on the hotspot for my phone because I don't trust Spectrum.
Okay. Yeah. Well, our internet providers aren't the best as of late. They keep kicking us off and things like that. So Justin's having to use alternate means to.
It's really pushing me to look at Starlink for real.
Dude, big time, right? Big time. Everybody at work is raving about it. So we'll see.
Bubba's got them. He loves them. That's why.
I know that
they were good.
Yeah, one of the mutant trailers next to ours has it there at the site.
Really?
So I'm kind of want to go in there and see what's going on, see how it's working in there. But week 9, right? We start off with the Thursday night game, which is a big one, right? Again, for you especially. We kind of mentioned it earlier. Gregory Portland at Corpus Christi Carroll in the Battle of the Bridge. Last year, GP came out on top 36-6. We kind of talked about how these teams did last week already, right? GP coming off that let me go back to that score, that 56-12 win over Moody, and Carroll coming off that 59-7 loss to Miller. Let's go.
So is it at Buck or is it?
It's at Buck. It's at Buck.
Okay, because the schedule I looked at showed it was at Portland. I didn't think that was right.
No, it's at Buck Stadium, right? And we will be there as a Thursday night game.
I don't know, man. Does Carroll get their quarterback and running back? That's the huge question mark, right? I think if they have those guys back, I think it's going to be a really good game. If they don't have those guys back, I think Portland will take that game with the way they're kind of trending up in play. I was, talked about, by some people that I believe in a little bit on what they have to say. And their word on Carroll early on this year was it was Robert Muhammad, and that was it,
Yeah.
So if you don't have Muhammad running the ball, and then the quarterback going out, Nick, that was huge for them. I think that kind of takes.
Went down to their third quarterback that game.
Yeah, that takes a little bit away from the game in itself. But those two dudes are back. Who knows, right? Could be a crapshoot. I'm going obviously with the Wildcats on this one. Even if they do have the running back and quarterback back, I think Reed and company will get it done. The receivers and him seem to be kind of clicking right now, and the running game's kind of taking a nice step forward as well, kind of opening things up for him. And the defense has started to play a lot better. And, they defend the run pretty decent. So, that's another thing that kind of plays into Portland's hand, I think, going into this game as well. So I'm going to take my Cats. I'm looking forward to it. I love the fact that Battle Bridge is on Thursday night, gives us access on a Friday night to go elsewhere. So looking forward to it, counting it down, and, obviously go Cats.
I'm going to pick GP in this one as well. I think even with both guys healthy, Muhammad and Kantu, if they're both back, I think GP's just going to have a little bit more. And like Quentin and these guys say, GP's kind of rolling right now. They got it together. They got that first win, and they've kind of put it together from there, it looks like.
Yeah. I'm going to need Matt to correct that playoff prediction outcome whenever this Thursday happens.
Yeah, because that's really it, right? This is the second spot right here, essentially, is what they projected, right? Winner of this game will determine who, unless barring any unforeseen circumstance, is going to sit that number 2 seed, right?
Yeah, and if you do win it, right, then now you're going to set up for next week, basically the district championship on the line.
Where is that in GP or is that in Corpus?
That's in Portland,
It's in
I
Portland.
believe.
Okay.
I think so.
Yeah. So that brings us to another big game, another big district game, which has been a big game the last couple of years, sitting at Ingleside.
Yep.
Last year, 42-14 sitting. Last week, Sitton had that 23-18 win over Cuero, and Ingleside coming off a 49-14 loss to Rockport Fulton, which a lot of folks had Rockport Fulton winning that game. The last couple of years we've come in with Aiden and company and Jaden Smith that they were going to beat Sitton. I'm not picking against Sitton again, not in this game. I'm just going to come out flat say it. Sitton's gonna win this game.
Yeah, no, I got Mike gave me a hard time last year on this game. And that was kind of, I think, the game that we saw sit and kind of take that turn where you're like, okay, like these dudes are about to make a pretty good playoff run, right? They kind of been up and down all season with performance, and then they got it going right here towards the year. So nah, no way I'm picking against Mike and company on this one. I think they handle Ingleside. I was a little surprised at how bad Rockport got on Ingleside last week. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Yeah, it was definitely an eyebrow raiser.
Yeah, for sure. So I'd like to, I'm about to ask what happened there, but no, I think Coach Troutman and Sinton take care of business on this one, and Ingleside's keys to have a chance in this game is you're going to have to try to air it out as much as possible against Sinton's D, and it's got to be quick because they're pretty quick to the ball without defensive line and core linebackers. And then obviously, you're going to have to just, try to hold on to what you can with that run game. And then, if they go to the air, help out. You got to put your best man on Jacoby because that's probably one of the best receivers in the Coastal Bend right now. So Sinton's got a lot going for him this game.
Yep. I do have a question for Robert Garza. If you're in the room, I hadn't seen you chat in here yet. Will the Mustang Smoke Show be selling food at this game again? If they are, folks, if you're at this game, go support the students. Go buy some of their state championship winning barbecue. They actually won a grand championship at Tilden and qualifying for state already.
Wow, already.
So, last week, yeah, I think that's what it's. Let me double check, make sure I'm not overstepping here and say that it is not state. Yeah, they qualified for state. Yep.
Yeah. Where is state?
I don't know. I don't know. But they are the first team in high school barbecue Inc. HSBBQ history to earn 4 blue ribbons in one contest. They got a blue ribbon for beans, chicken, ribs, and brisket.
Nice.
Yeah, and dude, so they're going everywhere. Their next competition's in Fort Worth.
Dang. Okay.
Yeah, so these guys are kind of going all over the place. So I guess high school barbecue is it's for real, folks. And if
only in Texas, dude,
it's fitting. Oh, there you go. It's in Round Rock. Imagine that.
That makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, well, you should have it in Lockhart.
I wonder if Matt goes to that. Right? You go to that, Matt?
See, Michael, he said the same thing. It should be in Lockhart.
I don't know because I read one of the latest Texas monthlies, and Lockhart's kind of falling off that list, dude.
Because everybody's trying to be trendy, dude. That's why I'm going with.
I know.
It's all, yeah. That Texas monthly, they take it with a grain of
salt.
Best
barbecue in Lockhart, go,
dude. I've only been to Blacks there in Lockhart.
I'm going Kreitz.
Look, they're guest judges. Who's this we, Matt? Is it you? Is it all of y'all? Who is it? How do we get on board? I think we kind of talked about that already, right? That's too much.
It's a lot, dude.
It's a lot, right? It is a lot.
But I'm sure you go hang out by the barbecue pit and they throw you scraps.
Maybe, yeah, that'd be all right. They have it at they have it at what's this Del Diamond, right? Is that what it is with Round Rock?
Dude, I was right across the street at Kalahari last week. We drove by Del Diamond like multiple times. That makes sense. The parking lot's huge for it. Nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. Slow down, rich guy. Kalahari.
I did not.
All right. So next game, and this is one that's kind of a little off the beaten path. George West at Santa Rosa. Last year, Santa Rosa took it 27-14, but this is a different George West team this year. Last week, George West is coming off a 62-0 win over Banquetti. And here's the shocker, and Jerry Perkins called this. Santa Rosa lost last week, 28-20 to Taft. So good on you, Jerry. I think, remember, I was I had said Santa Rosa hasn't really played anybody yet, right? And they faced somebody who can play some football, and ended up taking the loss there. But we kind of mentioned George West a couple of weeks ago when they played Odom, and you had the Cisneros kid, the running back, who kind of had, I think he had 5 touchdowns and 300 and something yards or 200 and something yards running. He's got 760 yards rushing on the year and 14 touchdowns, but kind of the unsung hero of that offense is quarterback Tegan Collins. He's already thrown for 1,021 passing yards, 9 touchdowns, 1 interception, has run for 200 yards and 2 touchdowns. Those 2 guys make that offense go, and they're they're both seniors. They're the centerpiece of that offense right now. I think right now the way they've got it going, their defense is playing very good. They're very hard to stop. And last week I said this is George West's district to lose right now. So Santa Rosa comes in essentially trying to play spoiler.
Yep.
Right. Can we create a 3-way tie at the top of this district right now between these 3 teams? Their big names are quarterback Riley Fonseca, who's thrown for 567 passing yards, 9 touchdowns. He's thrown 4 interceptions. He's also run for 508 yards and 7 touchdowns. Got a couple of running backs that have run for 600 and 200 yards apiece, JJ Ayala and Carlos Medrano. I think they've got another one who's run for a couple hundred as well. So obviously their focus is the ground game, and they kind of throw it just a little bit just to kind of keep you honest. I think George West takes this one all day.
I think so too. I think they're low key rolling harder than what most people realize, even us.
Yes.
And,
yep.
To come out and put up 62 on anybody's a great week, right? So I think they keep it going. I was a little, I guess, shocked whenever I saw that Santa Rosa score, and then I started thinking about it, and I remember you mentioning Santa Rosa hasn't maybe not really played anyone yet this year, so yeah, that was good for the Greyhounds. I think that was a much needed win for those dudes to get their confidence going and whatnot, and good for Jerry for making that call because I didn't really have much pegged on that game, but I think George West is going to end up blowing Santa Rosa out in this one.
I think so too. Like I said, Santa Rosa is there to play spoiler, and I think this game is it on the road? Is it in the Valley? Let me pull it up real quick. Keep talking. Talk about something.
Roland brought up City Market, and I'm going to bring this up real quick. While we were on our way up there, I had told my wife on our way around Rock that
tell the story, dude. Tell the story. I forgot.
What?
The story the after part of the story that you told me.
Okay, yeah. So I told my wife I want to go to City Market on the way back home and Luling, and so yeah, we were in agreement. Well, that was on Sunday. We're leaving Wednesday, and she wanted to go to this Lego store at the mall over by Westlake. So we go to this like mall. It's very similar to La Cantera and whatnot. And anyways, we're on that side of town. So it kind of sets us in a different trajectory home, right? So ask her, hey, where do you want to go for lunch before we leave? And she throws out In-N-Out. We both love In-N-Out. I said, all right, cool. So driving over there, right, going In-N-Out. Boom, turn to In-N-Out. I go to park, right? She asked me, what are you doing? I said, I'm parking. She's like, well, I thought we were just going to go through the drive-thru and eat on the way home. It's fine. And I said, nope. Threw it in reverse, got in the drive-thru, pissed. I was like, I don't want to eat on the way home. I don't want to eat and drive, which I've done before. But I just didn't feel like doing it. And
but it's a hassle eating a hamburger on the way home or while you're driving.
It's hard to eat it out on the way home. And I've done it multiple times on the way home from Houston for her. So I was thinking, since I'm not going to go to City Market, I can at least sit down and eat before we dip out of Austin. And actually at that point we were already by San Marcos. Well, anyways, go to order. The boys had already ate before. They got McDonald's. They were hungry, right? So we go to order. She puts her order in. I tell the lady, all right, that's good. She's like, you're not getting anything? Nope. What did you call it? A hunger strike? I wanted a hunger strike. So, yeah, I thought I was proving a point to her I wasn't going to eat. So ended up going to a shitty gas station, getting a can of dip and a Monster for the rest of the ride home. And it was a really bad gas station, not going to lie. So funnier the first time you heard it. But, yeah, I went on a hunger strike out of anger. And I was honestly a little mad for like 10 minutes there, like really pissed.
He threw a pity party, is what he said. He was pity. He was pouting. I just thought it was hilarious, dude. I thought it was very, very funny. I couldn't get enough of it. Actually, I couldn't stop laughing.
The hunger strike's hilarious. When you hear it the first time, oh, you want a hunger strike? Yeah, hell yeah, I did. Damn right, I stood my ground. Of course, she was unfazed. And then to top it off, I didn't add this to the deal. She doesn't eat all of her burger. She has like half of her burger left. She's like, "Do you want that?" I'm not going to finish it. Nope. Kept on going. Threw that burger in the trash at that gas station. So.
Oh wow. Yeah, those black
Okay,
cats. I guess I don't know if you jumped in here earlier, Kayla and Daniel. We talked about them earlier. We may end up out there. Ray, you're gonna have to. I don't know if you can rewind on the live part of the show, or you may have to wait till the show's over to rewind. But we talked about that at length at the beginning of the show on the suspended coach. So yeah, it's definitely interesting. But George West, like I said, I think George West takes this one, and it isn't George West. Dustin and Sandy Collins commented it's in Santa Rosa. I'm sorry, it said there. David Hyman checking in for the first time, I think, ever. Take out a loan for the Lego store. If you guys have kids, have ever been to a Lego store, you definitely need to miss your mortgage payment for the next month if you have one, or rent payment.
There's some eye-dropping prices in there, dude. And Cantina, of course, one of this Nightmare Before Christmas. The Nightmare Before Christmas is a big thing at the house here, right?
Oh, is that the one is that the set for the season right now?
Dude, it just came out, bro, and I want to say it was 200 plus. And if that's high, 150 minimum on it. And me and her are like, yeah, no, that ain't happening, pal.
Keep on trucking, boys.
So maybe Santa Claus will come through with that one, but we'll see.
All right, and that brings us to our game of the week. We are still unsure where we're going to be. We're leaning one direction right now, but we are taking the show somewhere we have never taken the show before. And dude, if I had enough time to think about this would have been a prime opportunity to do a mobile show somewhere to either one of these games, right? So we're going to head north. We're going to leave our little pocket of the coastal bend and head up north a little bit.
Are we taking Blake though?
I haven't talked to Blake. I need to ask him and see if he wants to tag along. I think it'd be a good idea. I don't think he's ever shot any of those teams before. Right now, we've got a 65% lean that we will end up at Goliad versus Edna. Goliad 7-0 versus 6-1 Edna. Edna's on a 3-game home winning streak. Goliad is on a 3-game road winning streak. Something's gonna give here this week, right? So last year it was 21-6 Goliad, and we talked about this game last year. We thought this was Edna's game in the bag, and then Goliad came out and essentially shocked the world, shocked everybody outside of Goliad. I think in this one. Last week, Edna came out 56-14 over London, and Goliad was 49-13 over Orange Grove. All right, some info on these two teams. Edna, they had an early season win over 4AD1, who was number 9 right now, Bay City, who was 4AD1. Edna's 3AD1, so 2 classifications up. They beat them 30
people early on because
it did. It was 35-7. It wasn't like a 28-35 game. It was 35-7. They thoroughly handled Bay City. And I want to say Bay City was top 5 to start the year.
They were.
And they're currently number 10 right now. Edna's got wins over Refugio in week 3, 42-35, and they've got a couple common opponents, 28-0 over Orange Grove in week 4, and 54-14 over London last week. So, looking up information on these teams, neither one of them had stats readily available. Nobody had anything anywhere. I had to reach out to folks hey, do you guys have anything? Because we don't want to look like idiots and just kind of talk off the cuff and just repeat cliches. So I was able to get some information, not a whole lot. Edna, the big names out of Edna is quarterback Chance Schubert. He's got over 1,000 yards passing, 15 touchdowns. And the other big name on that offense is Braylon Harris, who's kind of their Swiss Army knife. He plays everywhere. Plays a little bit of wide receiver, plays a little bit of quarterback, plays a little bit of running back. He's a defensive back, and he returns punts. He's got 29 receptions on the year for 538 yards, 7 touchdowns. Edna is big on both sides of the ball, the offensive line and the defensive line. And they had not allowed a point in district up until last week against London, where they gave up 14 points. So their defense is playing very, very well.
Yeah.
Goliad, they stumbled out of the gates in week 1 with a loss to 3A D2 East Bernard, who was unranked at the time, but who is now ranked number 2 in 3A D2.
We came home past that game. Remember when
We did. We saw
drove
the East
home from
Bernard bus. We were coming back from Columbus.
Columbus? Yep. And the game had just wrapped up over there in Goliad. So, and East Bernard's put together a really good season in themselves.
Yep.
Really good season. So that's no slouch loss, right? You know what I mean?
Nope. At the time, maybe. At the time, it was that week. That's week 1. You're a top 10 team losing to an unranked team. At the time, it's like a shocker. But as the season progressed, like we always say, week 4, week 5, you figure out if these teams are good. Well, East Bernard's very good. So they've got some quality wins as well. They beat Tidehaven.
It's not like they haven't been here before.
One more time, you kind of broke up there.
I say with a lot of history too. You know, East Bernard's won a state championship. Like they've had some really good success in years past, right? So it's no, you know, you didn't just lose to some random program, right? That's pretty like a legitimate name in Texas high school football. That classification.
They beat state finalist Tidehaven 20-14, and their common opponent 49-13 over Orange Grove in week 8, and 40-14 over London in week 7. The big names on this side of the ball, or this team, anyways, is Lamont Franklin. He's kind of their athlete. He's got 908 all-purpose yards. He's got 524 yards rushing, 331 yards receiving, 16 total touchdowns, and 53 return yards. And I think we talked about this kid last year a little bit, Donovan Perry. If there's any goal, I think there's some Goliad folks in here. Danny, he's predicting the Tigers over the Cowboys again. Donovan Perry, is he any relation to Elton Perry? He's got 929 all-purpose yards, 655 rushing yards, 121 yards receiving, 8 total touchdowns, and 153 return yards. I think the unsung hero on this team is Finn Wallach, who's their quarterback. He's thrown for 481 yards and 8 touchdowns. They've got a bunch of guys on Goliad who've got 100, 200 yards on the season, 300 yards. So there's a few guys. Danny, I must have played against you. I played in Odom in '94. We had a pretty big shootout in that game there in Goliad. If you were on that team, so I think it's going to be a very good game. I don't know if I want to pick a team.
Where's the game?
It's in Edna.
No. I'm taking Cowboys. I think it's a revenge game for them. Yeah, I'm gonna take the home team on that one. I think that there's gonna be some bitterness from that loss last year, right? I think they're piecing together a really good season. I'm not taking nothing away from Goliad, but I think being at home, having that loss to remember from last year is going to be what's going to help push Edna over the top on that one. What is the spread from DC?
Let me see. I don't know if it's up yet. Let me see. Let's go to high school. Let's go to news. We got the rankings. We got the projections. I think they'll be out tomorrow because they are currently not out yet. Let me see. Last week it came out on the 16th, it'll probably be tomorrow. They were out last Wednesday. So they will probably be out tomorrow. Okay. So once they come out, we'll take a screenshot and we'll post it to all our socials just so you can see what the spread is or who they've got. I bet you this is going to be one of those too close to predict, and the computer's going to shoot out nothing. That's what I think. I think. I think let me look at this. I think last year. I think Goliad went on the road and beat Edna. Let me see.
Did they?
Let me see. I'm going to pull it up right now. Edna. Nothing like dead air, right, guys? Nothing like dead air.
I want to look at the schedules again.
Yeah, it was at home. So Goliad Edna lost at home last year.
Really?
Yeah. So, you know what? I'm just going to be the other guy. I'm going to pick Goliad in this one. just so we can have a
Okay.
half and half on this one. I'll pick Goliad. I think we're going to be in for a very good game. They're very excited for us to go down there. That's for sure.
First time.
The first time that we're there, and so the other part that we're 45% thinking about going is to the Bay City El Campo game, another game with two top 10 teams. El Campo is number
Basically
5, and
district
basically
championship on the line right there.
and both of these games are district championships on the line. Whoever wins these games is probably going to take the number 1 seed and get the 4th seed of that other district in the first round. And I think I still have those. Here. Let's see. So if Goliad loses, they right now are projected to play Lyford in the first round, and if Edna wins, they're looking at playing San Diego in the first round. So if that's and then if the other team wins, it's vice versa. There it goes.
Hang on, give me 1 second.
I'm getting an email. I got an email. Hang on.
I'm looking at. Right,
so the Harris ratings have Edna by 3.
Those schedules, man, those are a lot closer than I guess listened to when I actually looked at them. I still got Edna, but dude, that's a go put those on paper if you're listening to the show and you haven't, go put them on paper, dude. That's a pretty interesting little points for, points against, and a lot of common opponents. That's a close one, dude.
Yeah.
That's a close game, bro. I got Edna still, but are we gonna bust? Dude, I ain't gonna lie to you. I almost thought about going over to Goliad, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna stand strong on my first pick. But are we gonna do the new gimmick? We're gonna make Ace make a prediction.
Oh yeah. So that's the new thing we're gonna do, right? So Ace is Justin's boy, who's essentially the new intern because the intern's grown out of his role as the intern. And he picks a game as him and Justin are riding over there. He picks a game, gives a score. So we're gonna start that's gonna be our new little segment before the game. Is we're gonna put Ace on. He's gonna give his prediction, and we'll go with that. He's got his own little. He's in his own little world. He's making his own little lane, and we'll go with it.
He's 1-1 that we never broadcast. I put it on Twitter. I'm not gonna lie to you. The very first time I ever asked him was the Kingsville and Moody game. And he told me, and you know, I didn't help him out because we were on the Kingsville side. They came out to they have a pretty kick-ass entrance. And I asked him, you know, who's going to win this game? And he's like, I'm going to go with the black and gold team, 55-0. That got ugly quick for him. But he redeemed himself because he picked Sinton over Cal Allen. And he had that, 35-14 or something like that. And if Mike would have not been classy and got that last touchdown, it would have made it like 31-14 or something. It would have made it a little closer for him. So I gave Mike a hard time after that. I said, come on, dude, you could have got one more touchdown to help out Ace. And we joked about it. But, yeah, no, we'll put him on the air on that one. We'll put him on the – who do you got? If he's willing on the camera. If not, we'll just have to tweet it. But
hey, so one of the other things we didn't talk about before we go, because that pretty much wraps up the show right there, is the hat.
And anyone that he likes free food. He likes free food.
So the hat that just it took off, right? So we got these hats made for us, right? We got one made for Justin, one for me, and one for Blake. And you'll see that we'll post our hats that we get up. So if we get hats from teams, coaches, we post them, right? Because we wear them. I think the last one we got was from Sherryland, the Sherryland baseball cap. Sherryland always comes hard with the baseball hats.
Yeah, they do.
Always.
People love hats.
And we'll post it, and I posted the fit. Dude, it's got like 100 and something reactions to that thing, like over 150. So people loved it, and people kept asking, can we get one? Can we get one? Can we get one? So we sold them. We were like, okay, people want this hat. Let's have them rep the brand, right? Let's get some hats made. So the orders for the hats have gone in. They will be back. Well, he only accepts cold hard cash for concession snacks. Let's we ordered some extras. Let's let you guys come up with a name for Ace's segment, right? And the whichever one we pick, you get a hat. right?
There you
That
go.
sounds fair,
That's good.
right?
That's fair.
That sounds
That's
fair,
fair.
right? So you've got from now until Friday. I'd say Friday at noon. Actually,
Yeah.
it'd have to be Thursday, right? Because he's going to pick Thursday.
Yeah, he's
Right?
gonna
So you
pick
got
Thursday.
Yeah, so you've got from
I
now
know
until
where he's
Thursday
gonna go on that one. But
at
let's say
5
Friday
p.m.
because let's say Friday. Give him a Friday
Okay.
because we all know where he's gonna go on Thursday. He's not a fool. He has to live here.
Okay.
But
Well, no, okay, we'll go Friday at noon. Come up with a name for Asa's segment. And the one that we pick as a winner, you'll get a hat. Right?
that's good. I like
cool,
it.
Right? So, and I mean these hats are pricey, man. We were kind of scared to sell them because of how expensive they were.
Yeah.
But we appreciate you guys, the 20, 25 or so people that chose to buy a hat. We appreciate the support that you guys are giving us because we're believe it or not, we're not making very much money on these hats, but it's going to go right back into the show and pay for some streaming service or some kind of thing that we've got to pay for the show. So it just helps us keep going. It helps keep providing.
The furthest hat sold is going to go out to Wisconsin to my buddy
Wisconsin,
Zach.
right?
Yeah, and me and Zach grew up together. He moved to Wisconsin he actually moved to Minnesota, and I can't remember if he's in Wisconsin or Minnesota right now because we keep up with each other on Twitter every now and then. But dude, Zach this is the second time he's bought a crap off us. He bought the black one, I believe, with the
first one, right? The first one,
the very first one we did. He got one, and he continued tradition, dude. And yeah, that's pretty cool. I mean, he spotted that over, and I was like, hey, this is the price of shipping. It was in my account within like a minute. Like, love the hat for supporting us. That's a pretty good all the way out to Wisconsin, Minnesota area. So that was cool.
Yeah. So guys, I think that's it for the week. Yeah, a little bit it froze, but it's all right. It's acceptable for what's going on. We're supposed to lead the show with that on how the crappy internet connections we had right now, but we made it through. But guys, again, as always, thanks for watching. Thanks for being great supporters of the show. Thanks for being supporters of our gear that we know. Now it's clear. You can see your hat now. You can see it better now.
I got ratted out by about my In-N-Out story, by the way. That's why Kinsey made an appearance in here.
You get yelled at?
Oh, yeah, they ratted me out, dude.
Oh, guys. Okay, again, thanks for tuning in, guys. We will be back next week with another live show because we are on days. Justin's on shift now. So we were back working on shift together again. So now the shows will kind of line up. If we've got to do a night show, or if we're on nights, it'll be a canned show, but we'll record the morning of and release that night instead of record over the weekend and release later in the week. Like I said, it just gives us more time to absorb what goes on in these couple days after the weekend once the dust settles. But guys, again, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being supporters of the show. Thanks for helping us grow. And we'll see you guys next week.